Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, welcome back to Chris with the C. Hope you're all doing well. Thank you very much for joining me today, guys. On the table we have the almost godlike Kraton EXB 6S version 2. I want to say a massive thank you first of all to Arthur from Vitavon for allowing me to do this video. Guys, we're going to start upgrading the Kraton. I've got some, well, quite basically sexy parts that are going to go on the car, ranging from hubs, motor mount, steering blocks, you name it. We're going to check it at the car. I want to show you the parts. Basically what we're going to do is dive down on the table. I'll show you the parts we're going to be installing on the vehicle, and I'll go through why I'm doing it, why I think they'll be good upgrades, and I'll show you the parts in depth as well, and then start installing them on the car bit by bit, and then fingers crossed hopefully you'll be able to see the finished product, and then we should be able to get out and enjoy the vehicle. I want to say a massive thank you to each and every one of you obviously watching the video as well. All the likes, shares and subscribe, really do appreciate it. Guys, without further ado, let's dive down. I'll put the head cam on, we'll have a quick look at the parts and we'll go from there. Come on then. Right guys, okay, Kraton 6S EXB, man, I absolutely love the way this truck looks. I've done a few little things before we go any further. I want you to have a quick look at. I noticed obviously on the running video, people have mentioned about roof skids, so I have added those onto the vehicle. As you can see, I've gone for this roof skid. It's made by a company called Go MPH on eBay. I've installed that on. We've also gone with this nose skid as well, basically to stop the car if it does land on its roof. Obviously any damage to this body, because this body here in the UK, if you were to go and buy this, guys, is actually £75. It's not cheap at all. We've also got the garage life or garage life, whichever way you want to describe it, guys. I'll put a link in the description. He's given us a permanent discount code for these wheelie bars. Apologies by the hand as well, it's still on the mend. He's given us a discount code for these wheelie bars. If you use Chris with the C at checkout, it's actually 10% off. We've also got a phase 1. It's a rear bumper slash skid for the bottom. It was previously used on a different vehicle, so I've actually added that on for a little bit more protection. And on you, as I mentioned, we have got the M2C carbon fiber rear mud guards, as you can see. Now, I love this truck. I love the way it looks. It's absolutely mean looking, and I think it's about time to start cracking on with it. I want to say, as I say, massive thank you to Arthur from Vitavon for allowing me to do this video. Now, guys, I wouldn't say the parts on you are bad in any shape or form. I want to clear that up. I want to, full transparency. But in the quest to make the toughest 6S vehicle that I've ever owned, these parts that I'm installing now, I think will make a really healthy upgrade for it. What I'm going to do, I'm going to lay them out on a table. You probably see a glimpse over here. I'll lay them out on the table. I'll show you the parts and we'll go from there. Right guys, so as you can see, these are the parts we're going to be installing on the vehicle. Quite nice to look at, definitely. So just to kind of go over what we are going to be using here is the new motor mount slash center brace support. As you can see, very, very tasty looking. I will obviously get them out of the packages as I'm using them. I'll put a link in the description where you can actually pick these parts up as well. Guys, one of the main concerns I did have with the EXB was obviously the steering hubs. The steering hubs and also the rear hubs in the vehicle. The good thing is with these Vitavon parts, not only are they 7075, you're actually looking at, they've got, if you look at the back, guys, oversized bearings. Now, one of my main complaints with all the Arrma 6S vehicles are the rear bearings. They're absolutely tiny for what they are. I'll show you, obviously, when we put them on. So, yeah, these very, very tasty upgrade. It's going to give us some extra strength at the wheel. I do believe this is going to be quite a good upgrade for many, many people if you're running a 6S vehicle, especially, obviously, on the front with the way you land. The arms then will hopefully take some of the shock, you'll bend, and if they don't, obviously I'll upgrade those. But the other thing, guys, as you can see, is the steering bell crank. Now, one of the common complaints again with a lot of the 6S vehicles is the slop in the steering. Vitavon have actually made this really sexy 7075 steering bell crank assembly along with the servo saver. Again, it's going to be a tasty upgrade. I will be interested to see, because obviously on the version 2 EXB, there is an updated servo save and bell crank assembly. So this here, I think is obviously going to be way better than what's on the car anyway, but I want to see obviously the difference in the actual steering now. And the other thing, guys, is obviously the servo mount. Now, it is aluminium that's in there, but this one, again, 7075, so it should be stronger and should take out any sort of slack from the movement of the servo. So what happens, obviously, when you put pressure on the steering, this servo sometimes does waggle back and forth. I don't think it does it too much on this version, but yeah, still all the same. Vitavon one, we're going to install that on the vehicle. But yeah, massive thanks to Arthur from Vitavon for allowing me to do this video. I've been quite excited to tuck into this. I've had a few other projects I wanted to complete first. And yeah, what we're going to do now, guys, is obviously get the car up. I'll take the wheels off. So the next part of the video, you'll see me, I'll talk about the hubs and stuff, and we'll go from there. You can see, guys, what I'm going to go with first is obviously I'm going to do the rear hubs. Now, the reason why I'm replacing these is obviously, as you can see, they are composite. And with that, obviously, yes, they'll flex a little bit, but I don't think they'll quite take up to any heavy bashing. And the aim of the game with the EXB for me is to make this nice and solid and robust, basically, so I can start sending this off some big jumps. Now, quite an easy thing to do is, obviously, you can see you've got a 2.5mm driver there, a nut captured on the other side. Obviously, you've got your nut and 2mm there, and then obviously this hub will slide off. Now, what we'll need to do then is remove the wheel hex and then pop the stub axle through and then into this. Now, the good thing is with the Vitavon ones, they are actually, I tell you what I'll do, 2 seconds, pause. Right, okay, so as you can see, very, very beautifully made, really, really nice. The tolerances, obviously, on the machining is absolutely spot on. And the good thing is, they do label them left and right, as you can see there. All right, so left-hand side. We are going to be working on the right-hand side a second. And I'm going to install one on there and, you know, obviously go from there, guys. And then we'll work on the front. Now, the front's a little bit different because obviously we do have the pillow ball on the front. So, obviously, what we are going to have to do is obviously remove these retainers here. So, they'll need to be removed out. And, obviously, this will then need... So, the screws here will actually need to be Loctited into the actual steering hubs. But yeah, I'm going to go on the rear a second and then basically get it fitted and show you. Okay, so obviously, as you can see, I've removed it off the vehicle. I've put a glove on now, by the way, so I thought it was best to do so. I want to show you something quickly, which will, again, make a huge difference. So there's the Arrma bearing, guys, and there's the Vitavon bearing. So it is a big, big difference. Now, they have a tendency of doing is these rear bearings do tend to rust up and get stuck. So all you're relying on is the stub axle to spin. But as you can see, with these bigger bearings, you've got less chance of that actually happening. So yeah, machining is top quality for a start. I haven't got any issues there. I've got a bit of dirt on my hand, mine, by the looks on things, so I'm going to rub that off in a moment. But as I mentioned, the bearing difference is quite big. You are going to need to... These little washers that come off, the hinge pins as well that come out. So make sure you keep those because they go between the arms. They take up the distance between the arms. So obviously the bottom of your bearing hub carrier, basically you put a little washer between the arms, and that obviously keeps the movement from sort of moving side to side. Right, guys, oh my God. Talk about RC pawnage right here. I'm absolutely chuffed to bits for the way it's got on, as you can see. Really, really nice. Really, really nice quality. Now, one thing to mention, as you can see, I have got some washers underneath. I did use some M3 washers to space it out because the plastic ones were actually not enough. So what I did there was add one there, and then put the plastic washer on the outside. And that's actually taken up, because there was a little bit of forward to backwards movement going on there. But yeah, the quality is out of this world. as you can see, all installed nicely. So I'm now going to move on to the front. But yeah, get yourself some washers, guys, if you're going to install them, because there are these little nodules on the back of the rear hubs that actually act as a washer. As you can see, they're built up just to take up the gap between the bottom of the arm. So the Vitavon ones, if you look, are actually a little bit smaller and don't have that. So what I've done is used a metal washer each side of the hub, like so. And then obviously put the plastic one in between that as well, to act as a cushion against the arm. But yeah, absolutely gorgeous. Really, really pretty. Right, okay, let's move on to the front of the vehicle. I'm going to get that one on, and then I'll be able to show you from there. Okay, so as you can see, disassemble the front. Make sure you keep this washer at the top and this down the bottom. Obviously, this retaining anodized part. Just keep it on there. Pillar balls I've removed. Now, you probably are going to need to reset your camber here. But this is the front steering block. As you can see, I've got to remove the CVD joint out of it. But part-wise, it should be pretty easy. As you can see, though, the bearing, as I mentioned earlier, a lot smaller than the Vitavon parts. Now, this is the one I'm putting onto the vehicle. As you can see, right-hand side. Again, bearing's really, really nice. And the oversized bearing on the rear. So let's just line that up so you can see it. There you go, guys. So there's the bearing and there's the oversized bearing. And again, these will lock up a lot less. You'll have a lot, what's the word for it? More durability in your bearing and longevity, where these have a tendency to rust. I GT85 my vehicles after every time I use them. So anyway, I don't get a lot of problems. But the point this year is if you're kind of cautious like I am, your bearings don't really last in the rear of the hubs. I don't know why Arrma use them, to be honest with you, but there you go. So yeah, I'm going to install this onto the vehicle now, and then I'll show you the finished product. You can just remove obviously this anodized part from the steering block like I have. I've just put the screws over there to keep it safe, but Vitavon actually provide you with some screws. Now, just to mention, guys, what I will say is the screws are in here. You are going to need to add a little bit of Loctite in there to actually keep that safe and stop it from moving. So don't go overboard with the Loctite, but just a little bit to keep it in the right place, and they won't come loose then. Right, moving on. Right, so front hub is now on. Very, very easy to do. Guys, one thing to mention, you are going to need to reset your camber. But as you can see, the red and the silver really complement each other. Not that it's all about looks, obviously these parts are for strength, but if you're someone who's into RCs, you will appreciate obviously how the car is starting to look. Very, very pretty, very, very nice. The quality is definitely there. Definitely, guys, as I mentioned, one thing to make sure is put some Loctite, because you are going into a metal hub rather than into the plastic like previously. I didn't have any issues with the screws on that, but if you are going to send it, it is 110% worth putting some Loctite on. But yeah, no issues at all. Oversized bearings on the rear. I think this is going to look absolutely gorgeous. By the time we add the motor mount and the steering bell crank and all the other bits and bobs that I've got for it, the red and the silver and the black, it all seems to complement each other, especially as a build. So yeah, very, very happy. Massive thank you to obviously Arthur from Vitavon for allowing me to do this videos, because you make me a really happy man, yeah. But I'm hoping obviously this is going to give me a lot more strength in the vehicle alone. Just the hubs, even if you just do the hubs, I think if you jump in, this is a worthwhile upgrade. Guys, next part is obviously I'll show you with the mold done. I'm going to do the other side. As you can see here, you've got this wheel and that wheel to do. I'm going to carry on and do that a second, and then I'll come back and show you the finished product with the hubs, and then we'll crack on with the rest. Right, guys, welcome back. So I'm absolutely over the moon on how this is coming together. Just to kind of give you, so that's the front. Now, bearing in mind, I haven't set the camber on them at all, but yeah, beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. As you can see, And then on the rear, very, very nice. It's coming together lovely. So I'm going to call this a night here. Next time we join up on the video now, it will be the day after. Tomorrow what we're going to do is obviously the motor mount. So we're going to replace it with obviously the 7075 part here. So that's going to go on. And then obviously we'll readjust the mesh and everything. But we'll actually give it a little bit more strength up top as well here, as you can see. So there's where you got obviously the composite. I haven't had any issues or anything like that yet. But as you can see, the top part here is fully metal. So that's nice. We're obviously going to fit that into the vehicle. And then probably the day after we'll do the bell crank and the servo mount as well. But yeah, so that's end of day one. The hubs are on, and I've got to say, very, very impressed. Welcome back, guys. Okay, so day two of the obviously the XB build with the Vitavon parts. So yesterday we managed to get the hubs done. And yeah, it came out really, really nice. As you can see, the car is on the table. I have got some extra parts to add now. What I'm going to do here is when I'm changing the servo support, I'm also at the same time going to change the servo. Now the Spectrum one I've not had a problem with, obviously, in the car, but I do use a specific servo that I've always found very good, which is the DS3235 Pro servo. So I've actually got a brand new one of those. Massive thank you to Gareth Manning for dropping that over today for me. And also, guys, when the postman came the other day, and I have also got from JBB or JP Bashed some EXB titanium hinge pins. So actually going to fit then to the car when we're obviously doing the work. I'm going to dive down on the table a sec. Now I've got another idea and I want to kind of go over this in the video. And yeah, so come on then, day two. Let's go. Right, okay, so just going over quickly what we're going to be mentioning here. Now I've actually got an aluminium servo support there, as you can see. But I will be fitting this Vitavon one, obviously, just to kind of make sure everything's nice and strong. Even though that's aluminium, this is 7075, so that's good. I'm going to be changing over the bell crank, as we mentioned, and obviously servo saver. Now Arrma did, as I say, upgrade it previously, but I'm going to go with this Vitavon part here. As you can see, that's part number there. Now, and also the motor mount that we mentioned yesterday. As I said, JP Bashed or JPB have actually made me these custom titanium shafts or hinge pins basically for the car. So I will be fitting those, trying them, testing them, seeing what they like. So massive shout out to JP for sending those over. Really do appreciate it. These should be a lot better than the stock ones. And obviously we've got a brand spanking new DS3235 Pro servo to go in. Now, nothing particularly wrong with the S665. I think it's a 665. Let me just check. Yes. Nothing. These are kind of majestic little beasts. They work really, really well. I haven't had a problem, but I definitely like these more. So what I'm going to do is obviously when I'm changing over the support, I'm actually going to put the 35 kilo in, change that over in the vehicle, and then do it all in one go. Reset the endpoints, happy days. The other thought I'm going to be doing here, guys, is obviously the car is still on stock gearing, so it's 13-tooth pinion. Well, the speed pinion here is a 15-tooth. Now, I'm running an upgraded fan, so obviously that's going to give me more cooling, so therefore I'm going to gear up by 2 teeth. So yeah, right, let's crack on, go from there. I think what I'm going to do now is start disassembling the centre section. I'll get the parts out, anything that I notice along the way, I'll obviously inform you. But yeah, I think we're going to do this part first, then we're going to concentrate on the servo and obviously the servo saver and bell crank, and I think we should be done then. But let's go. Right, okay guys, so motor is out, motor mount is out, as you can see. Fair bit of dirt behind there, nothing major. I've got the EXB gears in there. I'm going to need to remove the motor, obviously the pinion, the spur gear, and then mount that to the new motor mount. Drive shaft, keep that safe. I try and keep everything coordinated, e.g. this drive shaft I'll place underneath the rear because I know that's the rear drive shaft. Trying to think of anything else now. Give the chassis a bit of a clean. Fair shout to Arrma. They did include plenty of Loctite on the screws. In fact, a little bit too much. There's nothing worse than cracking virgin screws because you're wondering whether they're going to round out. But yeah, I did manage to get out. Little pro tip, get your driver, put a wrench around it or some sort of pliers and just use the force of the pliers then as a wrench. If you think it's going to round out, stop. Apply heat, then remove. But yeah, so far so good. Everything's going well. I should have that back in probably within the next 10 minutes. And in the meantime, guys, I'm going to move on. Okay, guys, so as you can see, standard EXB mount is out. We're moving on to this part, which is the V3 for Kraton 6S EXB. And here we go, guys. Look at this. Beautiful. 7075 Vitavon. Really, really nice machining. Yeah, just really, really top notch. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So yeah, what I'm going to do now is basically get it all set up and in place. I've got cleaned all the parts off, obviously all the motor and everything. Cleaned off the spur, cleaned off the chassis, as you can see. We're just going to put it back together again now. So as you can see, the standard pinion that was on there was a 13 tooth. All right, and I'm going to be putting the 15 tooth in here. So yeah, see you in a second. Right, okay guys, so as you can see, all the parts are in. One thing I've noticed straight away is the actual tolerances. There is literally no movement, but it all runs perfect. Look at it, absolutely nothing. I've got a mesh, perfect. I'm just going to pop this back in the car now. Obviously make sure I'm Loctiting all the screws, and I'll see you in a second. Right, okay guys, so as you can see, centre diff mount and motor mount all in. Obviously the cage is missing off the top. We're going to have to add that in a minute, but what I'm going to do now is obviously concentrate on the servo cage and obviously the bell crank and servo saver now. Basically, we're going to whip these out of the car now. Obviously, make sure the chassis is nice and clean. As I say, I can't explain it enough. Make sure you're using Loctite. But yeah, while we're there, obviously, we're going to change over to this DS3235 Pro Servo. So, yeah, let's move on. Right, okay, guys. So, time's getting on. As you can see, centre diff mount and motor mount is in. Put the cage back on. The DS3235 Pro Servo's in, and obviously the servo stay. Now the only issue I did have mind, okay, was I had an absolute nightmare with this actually getting it out. Let me just show you. So this is the stock one, and we did have a screw get stuck in the bottom here. There was too much Loctite added by Arrma, so what I did have to do was, in all fairness, was drill out one of the screws underneath. So I used a 4mm titanium coated drill bit just to get it out, and then gave it a tap through. No, I'm not going to take any credit for that because my friend Martin Price and Gareth Manning gave me the advice on it. So yeah, big shout out to those. But really impressed with the quality. Now steering does seem a lot more positive. We have still got to do the bell crank and servo saver. I'm probably not going to do that tonight, so it's going to be on to day 3. But yeah, coming together quite nicely. I think she's looking pretty damn nice there, guys, to be fair. As I say, it's not about looks of a vehicle, but it is nice if you're into this sort of thing to see all the parts sort of be added to the car, and the contrast between the silver and obviously the red anodization of the aluminium and the black, you know, it comes together really, really nicely. But okay, so end the video by here for day 2, and then we'll move on to do the servo saver and bell crank tomorrow, which should be pretty easy actually. I possibly would do it tonight, but to be honest, I really don't fancy taking that part of the car apart right now and doing it. I mean, the time is roughly about 9:45 in the evening, and I've been at this since I've got home. So yeah, obviously thank you to my wife for putting up for me. But right guys, as you can see, I've got a nice beer by there. I'm going to relax, tidy up a bit, put the car away, and then tomorrow we'll crack on with the other part. Hey guys, welcome back. So, Kraton EXB is on the table for day number 3. We've managed last night, I did mind you saying I have a couple of beers, so it was kind of chill out time while I was doing it. We've got the centre diffos in and the motor mount in, steering hubs are in. All that's really left now to do is the bell crank and servo saver. So I'm going to crack on with this part now. Again, I'm going to be doing it in parts, so I'll show you anything that I might need to show you. And then hopefully, fingers crossed, the final product and setting up the steering, that sort of thing. But yeah, hope you're enjoying the video. I'll see you in a sec. Okay guys, so steering, bell crank and servo saver. Got myself a nice cup of coffee. It's a little bit more sort of in-depth. Got to take a few parts off on this. I'd imagine I'm probably going to have to take these stays off here. And then I can configure the steering. Now, I'm going to have to teach myself how to set endpoints on a DX3 handset, because last time I did it, I kind of messed up the AVC. But we did manage to get it back with the help of Mike Marshall from RC4S, to be fair to him. I'm going to have a little look now. Anyway, I've got to crack on with this. Let's get the part out and have a look, shall we? Right, guys, I come across a little problem, all right? And there's something that I was sat here confused. I couldn't work it out or anything like that. Now, as you can see, I've been removing screws. We've removed the top brace out. I've removed all the screws from the top plate here. And I was like, well, why is that not coming out? You know, he should have popped by now. Well, Arrma, in their wisdom, have actually added a screw on this back pivot, back hinge pin holder underneath there, guys. Literally right underneath there. I don't know whether you can kind of make that out of the top right here. There is one screw holding this top plate on. So this obviously hinge pin holder here has one screw going into this top plate to actually hold it in. Now the only way to access this is by taking the front of the bulkhead and everything apart. So you are going to need to remove all the screws here, which I've started doing, and then it'll give you access to remove the top plate so you can get at the bell crank. It is what it is. It's one of those things, just a little caveat. I'm going to crack on with this a second. And I was sat here for ages, and in the end I was like, right, okay, I've got to be away. Got my torch out, had a little look, and there it was. Couldn't actually find it on the diagram, funnily enough. It was really strange, but yeah, I'm going to crack on. Okay, so I've managed to get it on, as you can see. The only way I could do it is by splitting the front end, and basically what I'm going to have to do now, as you can see, the part is on. I have added some more grease to the centre, sorry, the front diff even, and that was the screw we were talking about. But there, look, underneath the top plate. Bit of a pain in the backside to get off, but at least you know it's safe, I suppose. It's all a learning curve for me with this car. It is what it is. I do apologise for the washing machine noise in the background as well, guys. I obviously work in my kitchen, so yeah, the washing machine is on. But I'm going to put it back on now, sew it back up, and I'll show you all together. Okay, so hell of a build. It took me ages to work out how the servo saver worked, but anyway, we have got it in there. As you can see, everything's all working. I'd recommend using the stock screw in this. What I might do here is actually add a pivot ball just to bring this arm up straight, because as you can see, it's on a slight angle. So if I put a little spacer underneath here and Loctite that in, that should be a lot better. What I'm going to do now, though, I am going to take the front of the hinge pin block off. I'm going to fit these JP Bashed, excuse my hand, like I said, I've been working. JP Bashed Extreme Bash Parts titanium hinge pins, and then obviously replace them for the stock ones. So I'm going to do that front and rear in a moment, and then obviously we'll sew the bumper and everything back up then. But yeah, coming together quite nice. Just taking ages to get it done. I wanted to do it properly. So yeah, quite chuffed so far. Massive shout out, like I say, to Vitavon, because these parts are absolutely stunning. But yeah, let's go. Interesting to show you here. So obviously these are my weighing scales. That one there is actually the standard hinge pin, all right? So we just get, obviously as you can see, it's zeroed out. 7 grams per hinge pin. So obviously 21 grams right around the car for the hinge pins, just for the lowers. Now these titanium ones, as you can see, 3 grams. So you're talking what, 12 grams in so it's not a lot, but when you can consider these are grade 5 titanium hinge pins, you add that around the car, it does make things a little bit lighter as well as stronger. So yeah, you know, big fan of that actually. Well done, JP. Right, let's go fit them. Okay guys, so just sewing it all back up. As you can see, I've got the receiver box open because I've had to recalibrate the AVC. I did notice that I had the servo the wrong way around, guys. So if you look previously in the video, I had the servo this way, and I couldn't quite get this straight enough. What I have done here as well is added a couple of washers underneath, going onto the servo horn, just to keep that nice and straight. You don't really have to do this, but I would like to try and keep this arm coming from the servo as straight as possible. Gives a least amount of resistance. As I say, what I've done now is titanium hinge pins front and rear. I've also calibrated the ESC and the receiver and handset, and fingers crossed now it should all be done. So I'm just going to start sewing the rest of the car back up together, and I think, guys, that's the end of it. I'll see you in a second. Right guys, so as you can see, car's all done. Just want to quickly go over a few things. So obviously motor mount and diff case, really like your quality, came out amazing. Servo, as I mentioned, I actually accidentally put it in the wrong way around, and now I've got it right. It seems to be fine. Steering, bell crank and everything, that was actually a bit of a pain in the backside to put back in. That was my fault, something that I did wrong rather than Vitavon's fault. But the good thing is now that's all in properly. As you can see, the hubs front and rear, they're all in. Whoop, actually, there you go. Can't focus a bit better. I might have to do a little bit of adjustment because I think that wheel is slightly out. But yeah, just to quickly go over it, guys, she's all back together. The good thing is the car now is pretty much done, in my opinion. I don't think I'll be doing anything else to it. Obviously, big shout out to Garage Life for the wing mount as well, and obviously phase 1 for the bumper. But huge thank you to Vitavon for allowing me to do this video. Let's go up top. I'll see you in a second. Welcome back, guys. Okay, so as you can see, the EXB is all done now. Massive shout out to Vitavon for asking me to do this video. The car's come out absolutely amazing. A couple of little bits that I noticed, as I mentioned, was the bell crank and the servo saver. I had a little bit of an issue where it wouldn't go on properly, so I did notice obviously it was a screw that I'd missed, as well as turning the servo around. So just take your time, obviously, doing these parts. Make sure you Loctite everything. I don't know how many times I've got to mention that. But yeah, huge thank you to Arthur and obviously all the Vitavon guys for allowing this. It does look like now it's all done, guys. The EXB is all done. It's been 3 days in total of actually putting the car together. I'm really happy with the outcome. It's now time to drive it, so fingers crossed, it should be absolutely awesome. What else now? I want to say a massive thank you to Tyson from Garage Life RC, obviously for the wing mount and the wheelie bar, so we're going to test that out. And obviously phase 1 for the rear bumper, and also JP Bashed or JPB for the titanium hinge pins. Fingers crossed, guys, this car should be absolutely spot on. Should be able to literally take whatever sort of abuse I can give to it. I want to say a massive thank you to each and everyone who obviously for watching the video, all the likes, shares and subscribe. It doesn't go unnoticed, I can promise you that, honestly. Really grateful. And until next time, guys, I want to say check the box for more videos. I'll catch you in the next one. See you later, guys.